You know I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in entertainment, media, pop culture, sports, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, very excited for our guest today because we get to dive into some topics that you know I love, and that's everything reality TV.
Yeah, we're turning into a reality TV podcast here. But we're very, very happy to have our guest on. TV host, radio host, comedian, podcaster, and she hosts her own show. No big deal. So we welcome Sarah Fraser to the program. Sarah, welcome. How you doing?
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for having me, and I am great. All is good.
So let's talk about your backstory here. Obtaining your bachelor's in history at Mount Holyoke. Am I pronouncing that's right? I'm trying.
Oh, I love we're
Holyoke.
going Mount Holyoke. Okay, we're going way back. All right, yes, all women's
Okay, I got
college,
it right.
and
I got it right.
you got it right. Yeah.
Okay, good. I was worried about that. But yeah, let's talk about you going to college.
Okay, well, that was a miracle. I went to an all women's college in South Hadley, Mass, in Western Mass, which it was a terrible fit for me because all the women there were very, very smart. They've all gone on to become dentists and doctors and politicians. And I always wanted to be basically like a trashy talk show host or radio DJ. It was really not the college for that, but I made it work for 4 years. I had a really good time, and yeah, I mean they really didn't have communications as an option. You could kind of I think they had this like hybrid thing where you could go to UMass Amherst and like do a kind of proxy degree or something. But I thought I'm not going to do that, so I'll just major in history with a minor in film studies, which I actually think, guys, to this day, I'm not sure if I've ever even all the radio and TV jobs, I don't even think I've ever even submitted my resume. So when they talk about how like is college really worth it anymore? In my case, no, it was it was a big
Yeah.
expense for
A lot
nothing.
of, a lot of money.
A
A
lot of
lot of
money.
money, a lot of
Money.
money just
Yeah.
to not submit your resume or submit your reel at all. Well, let's talk about the early part of your career here because some people have difficulty finding their first jobs, right? That's something that is just a media thing in general. But let's talk about your experience working in radio as a host for many years for Westwood One, CBS and Cumulus.
Okay, well, insane, crazy, fun. And I got a job because I guess I've always been a little bit like this, but I when I moved to DC, I didn't know anyone. And I can remember people saying to me like, "Don't you can't move to a major radio market. You have to start in a tiny little market." And I
Yeah.
never subscribed to
Yeah.
that. I always thought it's to me, it's all about how you feel. It's like a strong feeling thing. So I loved DC. It was young. I moved there in 2005. Like it was just happening. It was such a radio town. You guys probably already know this, but Howard Stern was there for years. Some of the greatest radio people went through that city. So I loved the feeling. And I just went around to every single radio station. I would actually go to the office and I'd be like, "Are you hiring?" And one station was hiring in promotions, which is the worst job because you're going out to all these terrible car washes and giving out t-shirts. And I just worked my way up from there. I would ask people like, "How do I make a demo tape?" And the assistant producer left, I think, for a morning show. So I got that job. And then eventually a friend of mine worked in sales for Hot 99.5, the Kane Show and iHeartRadio, which was like a really big station in town. And they said, "You have to audition with this guy on Hot 99.5, Kane." So I called, I emailed. They kind of got back to me, I think, but they weren't that interested. So I said to my friend, "I'm coming over. I'll take you to lunch and I'm going to sit outside of the program director's office until I can meet him and put a face to a name." And I did that and I was there for 6 years.
Networking. That's the key, Joe. You gotta be in the right place
At the
and find
right
the right
time.
people at the right time. And that's what Sarah did. But how rough was it, to wake up for a morning radio show? I mean, I used to intern in radio back in the day, and getting up and getting on the bus at 4 a.m. to get there for the 6 o'clock shows. I mean, that was rough. And what was your meal schedule like? Because it just throws off the whole eating schedule for the day.
Okay, well, I was fat because yeah, exactly. Like you can't you're not eating at normal times. So I probably weighed a good 20 or 25 pounds more than I weigh now because you're going to bed at 7:30 during the week to get up at 3:30. You're eating at all these crazy hours. Then when I was on Hot, we were expected to go out and do club nights every other weekend, so you get up at 3:30 in the morning, then you're expected to stay out till 3:30 in the morning. It was rough. And it's funny you ask that because I oftentimes catch myself now that I've built my podcast business. I used to think, I was like, God, I don't know if I can do this. Can I live the rest of my life getting up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning? Because a decade ago, even more than that now when I was on, that was like the trajectory for people is you were going to get up for as long as you could at 3:30 in the morning. And I just really honestly all the time, I'm so grateful that podcasts changed that people listen on demand when they want. You can record at any hour and you're not stuck getting up at 3 a.m. It was brutal. It was brutal. I can't say anything really good about it. It was rough. Yeah, it was good. Like it was good once you got there, and then like you got to do fun pranks, like all these things, right?
Rough.
And you loved the chemistry with people, but it was tough. Yeah,
rough times. So you moved to DC 2005. At that time, it's all about the attitude in town. The Nationals are there. Flash forward years later, you're the in-stadium host for the Nationals ball games. Were you a sports fan? How'd you land that? And what was that season like for you?
No, I was not a sports fan, which is probably why I got fired because I mispronounced. I think we were live in stadium on the mic, and I can't even remember the pitcher's name. I think it was Wong, something Wong, and I said Wang because he spelt it Wang, and I was like, Wang's up to the plate, and what can we expect from the Wang? And that was like it was like the end of my career. They hauled me in. They were like, all right, we can't have you mispronouncing these things. I think I really truly got the job because at the time the radio station was number one. It was a really big station in town. So I think they liked that aspect of it because they knew we would talk about it and it was extra promotion. But it was a short-lived run.
I'm pretty sure she mispronounced Chin-Ming Wong, who was a pitcher for the Yankees, and that's the reason why I know this. We're the actual sports fans. He played for the Nationals. I think it was 2011 or 2012. So
I was talking about the Wang here and there and wanging this and wanging, and they were not. It was like, a Cardinal
now,
set.
Were you doing the morning show at that time too? Were you working at 7 to 10 and then going straight to work? Like, what was that like?
Thank you, right, Nick? And they should have given me like some grace for the fact that I'd been up for like 18 hours here, right? Yeah, exactly. I would do the radio show on Fridays. And of course, you guys know the schedule, like every other weekend they're in town. So every other weekend I'd have off. But the weekends they were in town, you had the Friday night game. So I would take a nap, go to the stadium. And then they always had like a Saturday night game and then a Sunday afternoon.
1:00, right?
Yeah. So, and they let me not work. I actually could get out of the Sunday game because I was just like, there's no way I can do this and then go into a radio show. But yeah, it was rough. And clearly I did not become a sports broadcaster.
Okay. No. System overload. Let's talk about something better. Your weekly Fox 5 DC contributing spot, talking pop culture.
Love Fox 5 DC. Amazing. Got that from the radio show. There was a period of time where local stations, and you guys probably experienced this at your local, networks, but they were always hiring radio personalities. And a lot of radio personalities make great TV hosts, hence Ryan Seacrest is one, several of them. So I got that job and I was actually there for 13 years and they were amazing to me. They let me try all kinds of different things. I actually launched their podcast division. They did true crime and political shows, and some of the journalists even had their own shows. So I kind of got them up and running and showed them how to do that. It was great. I loved it. I'd probably still be there, but 2.5 years ago, I decided to move to LA for more opportunities. And so they were great for a while. And then they were like, okay, Fraser, we can't keep you employed. You don't come into the office. People are wondering what you're doing. So, I have a great relationship with them, but it was awesome. I learned a ton there. It was really, really amazing.
I've never been, but from what I hear from Joe, there's nothing like the West Coast. He loves
West Coast,
Los Angeles.
I love the West Coast. I have family and my close, my best friends. They were in West Hollywood, then they moved to Malibu. But my uncle for the longest time owned the plumber shop on Washington and Sepulveda. So I know that area really well. And even though I'm a New Yorker, I love New York at heart. It's like West Coast, Best Coast. It's just the hours are better, the weather is better. Outside of being on the floor, it's like great.
Oh my God, it's heavy. It really is like another world out here. It's amazing. Nobody works. It's just, I'm like the hardest working person here. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, it's really, yeah, it's a whole nother way, isn't it?
Yeah.
The West Coast vibe. Yeah.
So you mentioned it, the hardest working lady out there in the West Coast right now. That's because of the hit show, your podcast, the Sarah Fraser Show. What went into your mindset to launch that? And what was it like just getting it off the ground? And how surprised are you now with the success you've had over the years?
I got stupid lucky. I launched it in 2016. Nobody knew what a podcast was back then. I mean, you couldn't get advertisers. It wasn't like now, where I'm sure you guys probably just saw this story that they're now anticipating 3 billion in ad rev for podcasts in 2025.
Wow. Good news for us, Joe.
Very good news. Stick with it, you guys, and expand, add more shows. It was so rough. I could not have done it without my husband, then, significant other. He was the one too that really believed in me because I just, my last radio job was in 2015 and we would go out to these promotions and I would say to like other women, right? That was always our target demo. Like, what are you listening to? Oh, I'm listening to Serial. I'm listening to this podcast. And I thought this really is the kiss of death for terrestrial radio. There's no way if our target demo, these women that are commuting 2 hours a day are now listening to other things. So it was very rough for the first couple of years. There weren't options like now you can get on networks like Megaphone and Art19. You can dynamic ad insertion. You can get with podcast companies. You didn't have that option. I was on Libsyn. They were lovely. They were beginning to show to do some ads here and there. You could put them in, but nowhere near the dynamic ad, insertion that they have now. But I just kept chipping away at it. I don't know if you guys ever feel this way in your life or career, but I kept thinking we're not going back. There's not an alternative, It's not like radio is suddenly going to change and because they really weren't supporting talent. They didn't want you to say anything racy. And now here you have this platform. You can do anything you want in podcast.
Yeah.
It's not, people aren't going to go back. So I hung in there long enough. The podcast is 8 years old now. I would say the 4-year mark was a huge turning point in it becoming a full-time sustainable job.
That's awesome.
We're on the right track.
For 4 years
you are.
now.
Yeah.
It's crazy, Sarah, that radio then morphed into podcasts, and now podcast has morphed into a YouTube channel. So how surprised are you with the success of the YouTube channel? And was that something you were prioritizing at first, or when did you really start integrating YouTube into the podcast?
I guess probably a couple of years ago, I saw people really adding video, knowing that people are going to want to watch the guests that you have on or you as the talent. So it just became kind of a natural integration. I mean, I sort of have this love-hate relationship with YouTube because I don't know how you guys feel, but I think as a podcast creator, if you distribute at the same time, your YouTube audience is going to stay on YouTube and your podcast audience is going to stay on podcast. And it's very hard to grow because unless one of those audiences is incentivized to come over, they're never going to. So I have a strategy where I kind of put my video out usually later and I just put clips out at first because I want people to listen to the podcast. That's really what I'm good at. And then the video second. But yeah, I mean, now it's definitely pivotal. You have to have video integration if you really want to grow. And look, I mean, I think that's the next step, right? I think you're going to see huge companies. They're already paying a lot of money for popular podcasters. And I think that'll be the next integration of talk shows and shows.
Yeah.
Again, we're on the right track, Nick. People are about to pay us a lot of money real soon. You talk about events you've attended. Living in DC, LA, right? Coolest events you've got to attend thanks to the Sarah Fraser Show.
Oh my God. Well, I just got to meet one of my, you guys love reality TV too. Last week, Sutton Strack from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she is, I guess, I don't know if she's really referring to it as a closing, but I do think it's a maybe, I guess, reshift or rebranding. But her Sutton store is going away and she's going solely online. So she had a party and I got to actually meet Kathy Hilton last weekend and
Big time.
spend an hour sitting with Kathy. And it was the moment I had to sit there and go, oh my God, like this is why I moved to Hollywood. It was just so surreal. I pinched myself. It was unbelievable. And Kathy is everything you see on TV and more. Amazing.
Well, I'm so glad she's going to be back this season and big time because they were missing her last season. I mean, not to get off pace here, but she shows up at the reunion out of nowhere and she said they're on the show.
No, do you guys know last week at the party, I sat there with Kathy and reenacted our favorite scenes. I'm like, when you started talking about the homeless and the toothless and the not toothless and the homeless. The best. And I go, Kathy, that was the greatest line. And she goes, and she's true to who she is. She goes, well, it's true. I've worked with the homeless and we did the whole thing again, you guys. It was so,
her and Sutton are on good terms now. I mean, she made Sutton sick. Sutton had to go away in an ambulance.
They're best of friends. They're best of friends now. And oh my God, it was classic. It was classic, Kathy.
That's great. That's pretty cool though. That you got to meet her. I'm sure you met other people. You got to meet Chin Ming Wang back in the day. So things have really been an upward trajectory for you.
Oh yeah, all up. Yeah.
Which reality shows, when you discuss them, lead to bigger views and downloads for your podcast?
Well, I've really carved out a niche for myself around the TLC space. Yeah. They're fly on the wall television and I'm obsessed. Sister Wives, 1,000-Pound Sisters. Amy Slayton was just arrested a couple of days ago after a camel bite. I mean, epic. They had I Love a Mama's Boy, which I thought was great, but I think has been canceled. 90 Day Fiance is their signature franchise shows.
My favorite is Extreme Sisters.
Extreme Sisters?
They're whack jobs.
Yeah. Speaking sister wife, I mean, these men now that want sister wives and all these women that want to participate, it is such great TV. I would say that covering any of those shows, and absolutely when there's breaking news, has been the biggest driver of a new audience to my show.
So what about your partnership with David Yontef from Behind the Velvet Rope?
I love my David. That happened on a whim too. So David did kind of a very similar thing, like with you guys, just reached out, said, hey, would you ever want to be a guest on my show? I said, sure, I'd love to. Did it. I was like, come on my podcast. We both went on each other's shows. And, he's taught me so much about the business. You talk about a great business person in this space. But, he said, I'm going to add shows. I really think one of the ways to build a new audience, grow and monetize is to go from, I think I was doing like 3 shows a week. Maybe he was doing 3 or 4. So we said, yeah, let's partner weekly, do two additional shows a week and put them out. We put out the exact same episode, but it's become just really popular that people like it. They'll listen on both platforms. And we've been doing it now. Oh my God. I think over 2 years, I think 2.5 years of covering, and we covered just Bravo on those shows because he's not really a big TLC guy. So we do all Bravo stuff. And it's been great because honestly, up until that point, I didn't cover Bravo regularly. And so that too helped in bringing a new audience because Bravo's such a rabid, has huge, following and fans.
Absolutely. That is for certain, no doubt about that. So you're talking about Bravo, you're talking about TLC, you're watching, shows on HBO and Netflix and everything. How do you keep up? And how do you find the time to watch all these reality TV shows? You have a child. I mean, it's got to be tough.
Well, I mean, I've dropped off like a lot of the 90-day ones, to be honest with you. It's so much. They have so many now. They just, before the 90 days is out currently, I probably will cover like a little of it. But even Happily Ever After this past season was so explosive. I did cover some of the Michael and Angela stuff because that's big drama. I know, Michael, is he scamming Angela or all of us with his GoFundMe? Or is he just really abused, So I just have to pick and choose. I really pick things that I feel passionate about. I try new shows. I'm going to try this new Hulu show with the Mormon women.
Mormon Sister Wives, yeah.
Strange Lives of Mormon Wives on
Yeah.
Hulu. So, but if I don't get into it right away, I mean, I just drop it and kind of stick with the ones that I feel great about because you find that, if you got a handful that you're really passionate about, usually you've got an audience that is too.
What do you think is like the worst Real Housewives franchise?
That's a good question. Well, currently I think it's Atlanta, but we'll see what their reboot looks like.
I thought Dubai. I'm
Oh,
shocked at the second season. I mean, that's just so brutal to watch. I stopped. I watched the first season. I saw bits and pieces of the second. And it's more of a chore to try to watch that than anything else.
you know what? I didn't even, I'm so with you, Nick. I actually have abandoned that altogether. I even forget that that's a franchise. I didn't even think that was an option. You know what?
It costs them so much to make. They're over there. They're paying to fly them to New York to a 30-minute show in the clubhouse, Andy Cohen. I mean, just get rid of that. Let's do something, domestic over here. I'm sure there's more drama around town.
But see, to your point, don't you think it's Dubai who's paying them? I feel
Could
like it
be,
is
could
a
be.
tourism. It is
Yeah.
a tourism
Just like
outreach.
WWE. They
There you
paid
go.
WWE to come
The
to Dubai.
Saudi Arabia, they pay the company to promote and do the shows there. I agree. I think it's the same concept because they want a piece of American and Western
Yeah.
culture, and the
Right.
only way to do it is to pay up for it.
Right. And to show, I mean, look, I got to say, that's the only reason to even watch Dubai. I'm with you. Unfortunately, the women, their lives, I just can't get into. But you see all the extravagance of Dubai and you're like, oh my God, I really want to go. To me, that's why I'm like, this has to be the same as WWE. They have to be funding this because there's no way this show, no way that people are watching it.
It's true. Talking about money aside, do the Kardashians regret going to Hulu? Because I haven't heard much about them since I left E. It's very hard to keep up with them these days.
Oh, that's a great question. I actually think they are enjoying being out of the limelight a bit. I could be crazy because
Out of the limelight,
I know, are they really out of the
are
limelight?
they
But
really? I don't think so.
I really think Skims, Good American, Kylie Cosmetics, I actually think those companies are really making money.
Yeah.
So I think that they care. It's kind of like Dubai tourism. I think that the Hulu show is just an ad for them.
Right.
True.
I think they're much more business focused. They seem less I just think there's other drama happening. There's other couples that people care about. They had this really great decade-long run where it was the Kardashians 24/7. Seems like it's a little less of that. And I think they're okay with that because they're forever going to be branded in society as some of the biggest stars.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe one day they'll come back to E, like they did the Jersey Shore, the family vacation after 10 years. They reboot it. They could, maybe
I know,
Courtney
but we
can want
want
to take Miami again. We'll see.
we want Rob back. We want the old Scott
Rob's been
Disick.
gone forever. I mean,
Yeah.
the Hulu stuff. It's just like this. How many times we talk about Tristan? I mean, it's just the same thing all over and over. There's no originality. I don't know if it's the same producers. I'm sure it is, but I think now the Kardashians have the final creative say. So it's really just on them. We'll paint him the bad picture, whatever, blah blah. I think I saw the first season on Hulu, but I'm not going to be paying to watch the show. So maybe I'll check it out now. Get the free trial. I'm going to watch the Mormon wives show, and I'll watch the Kardashians. But I just think they're kind of like, in the background. But you might be right. They're making the money now. So it doesn't really matter to them to be in the front and center of attention anymore.
I love that you were a diehard though. You're a big Kardashians fan.
I watched the Kardashians. Yeah, I watched it on E. So if it's on TV, it's for me. So that's my motto. That's
And don't we miss Kanye? I mean, God, do you remember the
Yeah.
seasons when he was such a huge star and he would
Yeah.
appear? I mean, that was like a
yeah.
huge deal.
So, I mean, I have a little bit of a tie-in with the Kardashians, not really, but I went to high school with Pete Davidson, so that was like a big thing around these towns when he was bringing. We're in Staten Island, so when he was bringing Kim to the Atrium movie theater over here, I mean, it was bonanza. But
Oh my God.
unsurprisingly, it did not work out.
Did you hit up Pete when you found that? Like, I mean, obviously you knew him.
You can't even get in contact with Pete. I don't know.
I have two good Pete Davidson stories.
Let's hear him.
So right before, actually, right after he got the SNL gig, he was doing stand-up shows, and I have a friend who's since moved to Florida. But the movie theater that he took him to is a couple blocks from where I live, right? So there's a gas station over there, and then once my friend was there, again, right after he got the SNL thing, and he actually ran into Pete in the gas station. And I don't like telling this story because it kind of paints him in a negative way, but my friend just kind of went up to him knowing who he was and very basic was like, "Hey man, I'm a huge fan. Congratulations. I wish you well." And he went to give him a handshake. That was it. And he kind of like shied away from interacting with him. Now, my friend said there was a girl in his car outside. So from that point on, he's kind of had a little more of a negative feel for him
Yeah, we don't like
than
Peter.
previously.
These neighbors.
My personal story is I used to work for MLB Network in Secaucus. So I used to come home late at nights. Yeah, my primary job was for the NHL, but they're both located in the same building. And Nick was there once upon a time for about a year or so as well. So late night, one night, my cousin was like, "Hey man, I know you're up. I know you like your late diner run." So it's like 2:30, quarter to 3 in the morning. So we get to this diner as you're crossing the bridge coming back to Staten Island. And who do we see in the Tottenville, which is like the southernmost neighborhood on Staten Island, the southernmost neighborhood in New York City. That's kind of where like the bigger money is on Staten Island. And there's one of the great diners on Staten Island that's over there. Who do we see sitting at the bar with his friend, kind of like secluded away? Pete. And as soon as we walked in, him and his friend literally turned their heads because, again, they don't want to be bothered. So my story is that we knew they didn't want to be bothered. So we kind of just gave like a little, like, we know who you are.
Listen, apparently
we're not going to come bother you.
He must have some sort of appeal. I mean, he's with all the people he dates, so there's something about him that I guess they like about him.
Just
there's something.
Yeah,
there's something about him.
Thing about him that yeah. I think he has no problem.
Back to reality TV though. TLC, that's your jam. You watch all the shows. I want to know, do you think Big Ed is the greatest reality star in TLC history?
Oh my God. I got to interview Big Ed.
That's a dream right there.
You guys should hit him up. I feel like he will definitely be on the show. I feel like he likes sports too.
I'll send him a direct message, perhaps.
DM him. Yeah, DM him. And then buy a cameo. He loves to do cameos of himself. And just put in the cameo that you guys want to have him on your show. Ed's up there. And by the way, Ed is also nominated. I don't even know what these reality awards are called. There's some award show coming up this fall. He's nominated for like greatest reality show male on TV. He's pretty good. He's pretty great. I mean, just the image of Ed, right? And even more amazing in real life. Yeah, he's pretty iconic. I mean, but you've got some good ones from Jersey Shore, the men of Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's tough competition. Yeah,
I never watched 90 Day Fiance, but then everyone was like, Big Ed, Big Ed. So I saw his season. He liked The View. I mean, it was going viral, and I kept watching the shows with him in it. But I hope him and Liz are finally going to close the book because
they're done. They're done. He moved from San Diego to Arkansas. He lives in Arkansas. Yeah. Liz still lives here in San Diego. Liz has totally moved on. And I tell this story on the podcast. They came on my show in studio.
Wow.
Together. This is probably a year ago. All lovey-dovey, everything. I thought like, okay, these two are really going to try to work it out. They have a contentious relationship. It was so interesting. They didn't know that I was there, but I walked out of the studio and they kind of gave each other this really awkward hug, and they both got into two separate cars.
Ooh, all for show.
Yes. And he said something to her like, "Great job, honey," or something. And I thought to myself, oh, this isn't real. Or it was real and it's over. But it was, they did
now they're just going to keep cycling through. Now he's going to go back to the Single Life show. That's the Big Ed. I don't think it's possible this contract, but I would love to see Big Ed on Traders. I mean, he would be flipping out with everybody. I mean, we've seen him fight with Jovi and his wife. I mean, so Big Ed, they should give. I thought they give Big Ed his own show. Darcy and Stacey got their own show, but no Big Ed. I don't know. Darcy and Stacey, that show was canceled. Missed that. Georgie came on with us. He was fantastic. I knew
Yep.
the whole time that it was all a lie, that him and Darcy were going through some troubles because I could tell when he was Zoom with us, he was at her house, and of course they're happily ever after married now.
I know. Can you believe they actually got married? That's crazy.
And they
They're
didn't
really
film it because the show was canceled.
canceled. Yeah. Although I have read, I think I can't remember if it's Stacy and Florian or
Yeah.
Darcy. One of them is going to be on 90 Day Fiance. What is it? Last Resort.
Real? Oh, it's
Yeah, I
got Stacy and Florian, I think.
think you're
Maybe.
right.
Florian
Hmm.
doesn't work, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If that guy with the blue hair gets involved, there'll be a lot of trouble. So
So
let's talk about the best show real quick on TLC. That's Sister Wives. Like, how much more juice can Sister Wives squeeze out of this family? I mean, it looks like the next season's going to be great, which means they filmed it 5 years ago because they're always so behind. Uh, the fortunate passing of their son, which I don't know what they're going to do. They won't discuss this season. We'll see in the future. Cody pass. I mean, that's passed by. They ruined their lives, I think, by leaving Cody's corner in Las Vegas where they had the cul-de-sac. I mean, the last few years, the show has been a tough watch. It's like a 45-minute show. 23 minutes is flashbacks, and then 20 minutes of the their iPhone stuff. So it looks like we're gonna get some real production quality this year. Janelle told Cody, "Go after yourself. That marriage is done." Joe, this is just crazy stuff here. This guy has three, four wives. Now he's down to one. Is Sabed Robin going to leave him too because she wants multiple wives? How much longer can this show go on? I hope it goes on for a while, but I just feel like it's coming to the end here because they're all dispersed. Flagstaff, Utah, they're all over the place.
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's coming to an end too. I mean, it is such their number one show. I could see, but the women don't really. The problem is, right, is none of them now are really friends anymore.
Right.
That's the issue, right? So even this idea that's been floated out there of a spinoff with Christine and Janelle are good friends, but they've completely moved across country. Janelle is now going to be in North Carolina with her daughter. She's just bought a piece of land. Apparently, she's going to build a house. Christine's in Utah. So it's like, I don't know. And they kind of hang out. They don't hang out with Mary. They sort of speak to Mary here and there, but they're not really friends with Mary. So it's like, how do you have a show where the three women don't really interact or see each other, without Cody and Robin? I do think they're in trouble in the sense we know that they've got a season 19 and supposedly even a season 20 already in the can. And then I don't know beyond that. I really don't. And it doesn't seem like the kids have a lot of interest in, I thought the kids should get a spinoff, but it doesn't seem like they have a lot of interest in doing it. So I don't know. I think it's nearing its end for sure.
So if there was a Bravo and TLC crossover event or a show, who would you cast in there?
Oh my God, that would be so good. Okay, well, our guy Ed, I think, Angela I'd love to see Angela. We've only seen Angela for 6 years, basically, with Michael beating him up or his car or whatever. So it'd be great to see Angela in a different light, I would love to see Cody and Robin. What would Cody and Robin be like if they weren't in this, codependent, toxic, I love you, sobbing? Like, are they even fun? Wouldn't you love to see them? And the housewives, Luann's one of my favorites. I love Luann. I love, the women of Salt Lake are so great. Heather Gay. I
Yeah.
mean, and all the women of Beverly Hills. I mean, can you imagine Kathy Hilton with Big Ed? I mean, Kathy Hilton advising Cody Brown. What a mashup. So yeah, those would be some of my people. I would love that. Kathy and Sutton with
Yeah.
Ed and Angela and like Tammy Slayton. I mean, from the richest to like the most, unique backwoods. Like we'd have it all covered.
Listen, I think the easiest way to do it is you take Christine, Cody's ex-wife, and you put her on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be awesome? Do you think Christine has it in her though to like fight with the other women? Really argue?
No, but I think it would be great to see her attempt to,
fit in.
Get in with the rumors and the nastiness, you know? Let's see.
That would be really good. Well, she'd fit right in with hawking her businesses. All these women are always hawking some LLM. She's got a good one going apparently with that tea. Lexus,
Well,
whatever.
what Mary's company was the biggest one, right? They had the biggest multi-level marketing scam. They had the whole like Hulu documentary on it, but the and her was it
She still sells
Janelle's
them.
daughter sells the pants or something, and they go on the cruises.
Yeah. Lulu Rowe, the
LuLaRoe,
legging.
yeah.
Yep. Mary still sells hers. I don't know if Janelle and her daughter do or not. They're big into the tea, that plexus. And I guess it's not a tea or it's like a gut
Oh, look,
reset.
it worked. It must have worked for Tony, apparently. Tony's looking like a different human these
He
days.
does. I mean, Tony lost like 85 pounds. Yeah, they both did. Yeah, they do look like new humans.
Crazy. Well, before I asked you your least favorite housewife series, now I have to ask you your least favorite housewife of all time.
Oof.
Well, currently it's Bethany Frankel. Like
Oh.
I'm just like, ugh.
Is
It's a
she
tie
desperate to
between,
come back on TV or what?
it's so thirsty when it doesn't have to be. And I would say my other current least, I'm really over Tamra Judge. Like Tamra and Teddy have an awesome podcast.
The
She should lean
tea.
into that.
Yeah.
But that's seeming real tired on TV.
I think my least favorite of all time. I never watched Atlantis. I'm gonna go with Leah from New York City. I thought she just killed the show and did not fit in at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. A lot of people agree with you on that.
I like the reboot of New York City. I thought that was great. It worked out. I'm hearing they're gonna reboot New Jersey, which is gonna be it's gonna be rough. New Jersey is my first entryway into Bravo. My first one I watched with my wife at that time, girlfriend. She said, "You gotta watch the show because we're in New York here. We know the Italian culture. It's all about the family. I love New Jersey because it's all about like family. It's like real problems for the most part that you
And
can.
now we're friends with them. Who
Oh yeah,
knew?
Joe knows Melissa. I know Joe, so uh,
Ah, I
I
love
know.
it.
I know the food
and
is
he
too.
knows the
Very
food
nice
is
people.
too.
Very nice
And the
people.
Buddhas.
Yeah,
Do we?
Joey, I got to be backstage at a comedy event that Joey did.
We met
Oh,
And
yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
and
So
so they were in Princeton and very briefly there was a moment during the night where everybody kind of walked out of the room and I was just hanging out with him. And he was so personable, so humble, great to talk to, a lot of personality. He was pacing back and forth, kind of preparing for his little set, and he was kind of asking me for my input and just talking with me, having a nice conversation. In general, it's just he's the best. I always have the most amazing things to say about that dude.
That's awesome. Do you think they're really gone? Do you? Because there's a lot. Like maybe some of them will be back, and then they'll recast. Like, what do you think?
I think it's going to be like an all or nothing scenario. I think they'll just. I mean, if they just like keep Teresa, like it's weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, the star of the show is Joe Gorga. I think he's the guys are the best.
Well, we say this, we
Give
say
me
this all the
give
time.
me the guy spinoff. Give me the Real House
I
Husbands.
know.
It's become about the house husbands. They
Yeah.
did it. They did a show in Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago, and they sold out wherever they were, and it was all about the house husbands, and they were all
Yeah.
on stage together having a great time.
I just
So
think
yeah,
what you do is you take Joe, maybe Melissa too, and you do a flipping house show, and that's the show. They could stay there. I don't know. I mean, Cabral, she was Staten Island represent. She could have easily knocked out Jen Aiden with the glass. So I think she actually came off the best this season because she stayed true to herself. But I don't know. It's something's got to change. It's been the same thing for the last 5 years. There's only so many times you could watch them go to the Jersey Shore. Back in the heyday, they used to film in the winter. We'll see the Christmas, the sprinkle cookies at Easter, all this good stuff. But now it's like the same thing. The Jersey Shore, the Jersey Shore. They haven't gone on a cash trip in like 5 years. I think that just and the New Jersey season's always been the shortest. It's always been like 12. So to me, that must just tell me that maybe the ratings aren't there. So I think they're probably gonna blow it up, and we'll probably have to wait like another 2 years or so, I would say, to find out.
I I think that's a good theory because you're right. It can't work the way that it is. And I don't think Teresa and Louis, at least anytime in the near future, are going to talk to Melissa and Joe. So it's like you can't,
absolutely not.
right. It's over. So it's over. Yeah, I don't know. That's a dilemma because
Why?
Teresa's a huge
What
star,
do you
but
think?
people love the Gorgas.
What do you think about Teresa and Louis using their lawyer James to pay off podcasters to paint a picture for them? And do you think they're going to last? Do you think eventually they'll get divorced?
First of all, did you guys get paid? Because where's my money? I would have said anything. I'd love to get paid. Like, where's
No, we're not friends with Roxanne and the other hand or any other one.
yeah, I actually can't. I mean, I can believe that they would do it because these women get so caught up in this, but how stupid, because I think the network's actually really mad at Teresa. I mean, Teresa came out and did that apology.
Right.
I think that was to try to save her job. I think she's being really quiet. They're trying to, I mean, she's got a $2 million plus payday for 12 episodes.
Right.
It's insane money.
And Louis needs that money. I mean, there was a whole teaser scene this season about Louis talking to Teresa outside about the money in the house and the mortgage. They didn't show that in this season. I mean, they cut it out. I don't know what happened there. That was the big storyline to me.
I'm with you.
And I just think that if they're going to reboot this, maybe they should, look to their past and kind of, the fact that Kathy Wakili wasn't back this season made no sense, because that would have made perfect sense to have her with the Melissa and Teresa rift with Kathy moving in. And, she always said, make a stupid offer, I'll be there. You could have brought back Caroline Manzo, probably not now with the litigation going on. And I wanted to see that show so badly, the girls trip, but look to your past. Maybe there's some things that could bring you into the future. But if Teresa and Melissa aren't going to talk, you can't have them both on the show. So you got to go one way or the other. Everybody I talk to is Team Gorga. How about you, Sarah?
Well, it's funny because I feel like I hear more Team Teresa, and I don't know why that is, but yeah,
It might be where we are locally, that
I think that's
and then Teresa's more of a national.
Right. It's a location difference thing, I think.
Because, man, she's got some die-hard fans. I mean, they really ride so hard for her. So, and I mean, I got to say now, I mean, Teresa's probably one of the most famous Bravo stars that's like on.
Absolutely.
So I feel like they would go with Teresa.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the girls, like Teresa's daughters and Louis' sons, I just don't think there's enough there that they can have their own spinoff. As you guys know, it's really hard to care. Everybody thinks that their family's a reality show. Everybody thinks.
But that's what we were saying. The Gorgas make a better spinoff because of what he does for work, with his construction job, her fashion company, getting their
they go the Manzo route. Gorgas got their spinoff, and Teresa stays with the Real Houses in New Jersey.
There you go. I like that.
You got to shape if it's going to just take out Melissa, what do you do? Then you should add some new people, figure something out. We'll see, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be, I wouldn't say they even start filming anything until later in 2025. New York City was gone for about 2 years before they filmed. So we'll see. I just hope that New Jersey's back before Dubai comes back for another season.
I don't know. I think Dubai tourism is like, all right, when are we shooting season 3, 4, and 5? So I think we're getting Dubai. Dubai will be back out.
I always said that I really wanted them to do a, Real House Husbands Ultimate Guys trip. I thought that would have been a great thing to do. And where they're going to do it. They're going to all go to Joe Giudice's house in the Bahamas. That would have been the perfect setting. You bring Joe and Louis down. Richie Wakili's there. You bring Mauricio. You bring Coach Shah. I mean, that would be a great show. Michael Darby. I mean, how good would that show be?
Oh my God, Michael Darby on the loose in the Bahamas. Yes, that would be an epic show. Those guys would be in so much trouble. I mean, oh my God. The hookers they would have, their dicks would be falling off by the time they hit stop. I mean, it would be crazy, right?
I think that's the way they should have went. If I ever got a chance to talk to Andy Cohen, I would pitch him that and he'd be like, how did I never think of that? And it would be right the next day. They'd be flying to the Bahamas.
Yes, I'm here for it. Michael Darby is so much fun in real life. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. He's nuts.
Crazy.
Should be another good season. What is your favorite housewife and husband duo?
Oh, favorite housewife and husband. God, there aren't many left.
They're all done. Mauricio Khan done. Ashley and Michael done. It's not much to choose from these days.
Who is left? And I mean, Lisa Vanderpump and Ken really aren't on. Harry and I mean, probably it would be Harry and Lisa Rinna. Harry Hamlin, when you think about it, the fact that she did that show for 7 seasons, and I mean, Harry's like a legit actor,
Yeah.
and they stayed married. They're such a yin and yang. That's a good one. I like those two.
Good. Good. It's going. What about you, Joe? Who you going with?
I mean, I'm biased, right?
Joe,
Because
Melissa,
Yeah,
right?
the
going
Gorgas.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Look, but I have a soft spot for Joey because
I
again,
thought you
I've
go with
seen them
John
hang
and
out.
Rachel Fuda.
I love John and Rachel too. They were very, very good when I met them. Very personable people, great conversation to have with. But I've seen Joey multiple times, so it's like when you hang out with somebody, it kind of changes your opinion. Uh,
Yeah.
Sarah, who are some of your favorite reality stars that you've gotten to meet or interview through the years, through the show?
Oh my gosh. Well, I just had Mary Brown on from Sister Wives, who I
Oh,
like a lot. I know. It was epic.
wow.
She was very open too. She was really great. When you do a lot of those interviews, they have to be approved by networks. So of course, you can't do any spoilers. There's a lot of things that you can't ask, which I understand, that's fine. But I feel like someday too, when that show is done, I do think she's going to write a book. I think there's a lot more there. Loved her. Ashley Darby is one of my favorite people. She used to listen to my radio show back in the day. So when she comes on, she's always so real.
Yeah.
And I've met Michael many times. Like I always loved Michael, like super fun. Who else? I'm trying to think of another reality guest that they've really all been pretty great. I mean, most of my guests that suck are really nobody that you know. They actually tend to be the worst. So I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, Big Ed and Liz was such a moment. Natalie Mortsadova. I don't know if you guys know who she is from 90 Day Fiance. You would know who she is. She's
Blonde
like,
hair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She was
Iranian,
really
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Ukrainian. Yeah, yeah. She's
She
awesome.
back with her husband in Seattle?
Nah, Mike's
Done.
gone.
All
They're
right.
done. She's really with that Josh guy who
Oh, really? Still? Jeez.
oh yeah. Yeah, they live out here in Long Beach. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
She was really great. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm a huge Welcome to Plathville fan. Olivia Plath, I love, so sweet. So a lot of times these individuals, they never even knew what reality TV is. I cannot even imagine this, right? Never having watched reality TV and then
Yeah.
lucked on to reality
Right.
TV,
Breaking Amish back in the day. Yeah. It's
right?
crazy.
So she's another one of my favorites that I really enjoyed. She's
Nice.
been on a couple times. Yeah.
Big show that, I think they do a great job. No spoilers. They just finished filming a few days ago. Summer House. Okay, this is going to be a huge season. Lindsay Hubbard, she's pregnant. She's going to be in there with Carl. After the season, like, where do they go from here? Like, they're gonna have to recast or something because are we really going to be? Is it going to get to? Is Lindsay coming to the summer house with her baby? Like, I just don't know what they're going to. This season, you want to say because they broke up. If it wasn't for that, like, what are we tuning in for? What do you think the future is for Summer House? Because we already saw them cancel Winter House because they brought in too many people and there was no chemistry and that was awful. They ruined that. What do you think they could do with Summer House moving forward beyond this summer?
Well, if they were smart, and if Lindsay Hubbard were smart, and Carl, although I'm sure she is like so over Carl, but if they were smart, they'd just agree to film together. Like they would just agree to show up. She should bring the baby, rub
Oh,
it in his face, yell at him every chance she gets, and make it confrontational, but not too confrontational. Don't draw a hard line in the sand, and bring her new man, flaunt him in front of Carl, and let people keep shitting on Carl. Really, like, I mean, right? And if Carl were smart, he'd be along for the ride. But it's hard because, right? I think what happens is a lot of times they're so in the weeds of the show, they don't see the bigger picture. So they refuse to speak to people, refuse to film with people. And then to your point, where's the show? But I think that one, because it's become such a fan favorite now, I think has a big chance of probably continuing.
Carl, former great I'm right guest. Did you know that?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
We had Carl on with us.
Oh, you did? You
Very
did.
nice. Very nice guy.
Before it all went to hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When they
Did you
were
get any
together,
invitation?
yeah.
They were
Uh,
getting ready, engaged, preparing for the
They were
wedding.
engaged. Yeah, it was leading into the season that aired when they were going to get engaged. So they were engaged at that point when we
Ooh,
named
good
the
get.
season.
Yeah, it was a good get, and then it all went to hell, like I said.
We'll have to go to the soft bar when it opens.
Absolutely.
I know. What do you think about that? Do you think that alcohol-free bar is going to be successful?
It depends on who's there, who's doing the
Depends on what,
extras,
yeah, the
what are they
atmosphere.
showing on the TV screens,
Right.
what are they
And
charging is going to be the key thing.
yeah, what else do you have going on
I
right
mean,
now,
rent is
basically?
really expensive in that.
It's
I know,
insane.
right? You're gonna have to sell a lot of non-alcoholic
And I
drinks.
mean, Carl's got to be there all the time. We look at like, Jax's bar, see ya, Tom, see ya. He's got to be there every day, all the time,
Uh,
because the fans are coming for that.
and by the way, Jax was there all the. You guys probably know this. Jax and Brittany were there all the time before all this.
Yeah.
But like Jax, literally any day of the week you walked in, like he was there.
Wow. That's how you
Yeah,
got to do it. That's why the
yeah.
people are going.
It's like, is Carl going to do that? And I mean, to that point, obviously I have a little bit of beef with something about her sandwich shop, but Katie Maloney is actually there, I think, daily at the
Wow.
sandwich shop. Yeah, for real.
So you mentioned Vanderpump before, so we have to talk. Should Vanderpump Rules be canceled?
I don't know. You've heard that rumor everywhere that it's going to be a complete reboot.
Is it going to
Uh,
work?
I don't know. I guess I get people's points that none of them now work for Lisa anymore, except
Right.
for Tom and Tom that have like a little bit of a connection. Although, as you guys know, Peter Madrigal came on my show. He alleges she bought them out and Tom will in fact be rebranded as Pump, which I don't think he's wrong. I just don't think
Aren't they
Lisa.
like around the block from each other though? No, they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
So
like right, like same block. But I don't think Lisa was going to let Peter, you know, like make that announcement. You know what I'm saying?
I
So she's like going to deny it,
I
say, "Oh,
miss
good idea."
Lisa's party planner from the Beverly Hills days. I know that, but Kyle used her for the white party. But that guy could have got his own TV show.
It was so epic. Wasn't his name Kevin? What was it? Or what was it? I
I think it's
know.
Kevin. Yeah.
Kevin Lee. He
Yeah.
was so great. I mean, I get people's points, but I just don't know. Are people going to watch a whole new cast? But yet here we are with Real Housewives of New York, and we're loving the reboot. I just think they've got to do something with Tom Sandoval. I have a theory where Sandoval and Schwartzy stay on, maybe Katie a little bit. Ariana's gone. She's going to be doing all the Bravo stuff. Sheena and Lala really do go to the Valley. And I kind of think the next thing is Lisa Vanderpump will do a reality show in Vegas. Vegas is super hot. James
Yep.
Kennedy moves there.
At the
You know,
Paris Hotel.
the Paris Hotel. James Kennedy gets a residency there. Garcelle's son works there, lives there. Do you already kind of.
I think they got to cast you, Joe, if that happens. You love Vegas, and you'd be
I
so
love
good.
Vegas. Got family in Vegas, got family in LA, got family everywhere.
Vegas is great. I'm with you.
Vegas.
So, last thing about Bravo and reality TV here before we wrap up. Beverly Hills, you're hanging out with Kathy recently and Sutton this season. I mean, there's really one question we need to address going into it, and that is, will Kyle Richards come clean about her romantic relationship with Morgan Wade on this season, or is she going to cover it up? And also, what? I can't believe the Mauricio's Netflix show got canceled. Is that going to be coming over to Bravo? What are you hearing? And is Kyle going to come clean, or is it going to be the same old stuff here? Oh, she's just a good friend. I got her tattoo on me, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? How's it going to go? What's going to happen?
I think no. I don't think we're going to get any more out of Kyle and Morgan Wade than we have before. And I don't think it will ever be revealed to us in the near future if they had a little fling or not. And now it's going to be overshadowed by PK and Dorit because they really are separated.
Credit to Erica Jane. She called it.
Erica Jane called it. And I think, no, I think we're going to see more of Kyle and Mo's slow bleed to divorce. Maybe him dating, maybe like we'll get a little of that. But no, I don't think, do you guys think? I don't think we're ever going to really get the truth about Morgan Wade.
I think
they
she's
like
going
it
to
that way.
just deny.
Yep.
But I think Garcelle will definitely ask the questions.
Oh, okay.
That's my thought. Somebody's going to ask. And, we'll see how it breaks out.
Yeah.
But lots to look forward to on TV here. Sarah, in your life or your career, what would you say is your I'm right moment? Me by that, it's a time or place where you wanted to pursue something. You asked somebody for advice. They said, Sarah, awful idea. What are you, crazy? Why would you do that? And you were like, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. And in the end, you will see why it is that I'm right about this.
Podcasting. I mean, when I launched my podcast in 2016, the story you just told, I had somebody from radio reach out to me and they said, this is a really bad look for you. You need a radio job. Like you should take a full-time job at Fox 5 DC. This is a really bad idea. And I will just say this, 8 years later, everybody from iHeart and Cumulus, every single person I have worked with all have podcasts. So that was the ultimate. I never want to rub it in people's faces because, you're just like one day you're hot, one day you're not. But I just silently sit back and I think, every time they publish their podcast, like, okay, yep, all right, good luck. Hope
once again, let's give a shout out to your husband, your support system. He said, go for it. And he's like, we're going to move to California now. And now you get to work from home. It's fantastic.
Living the life.
Living the life. I really, yes. And he's a big reason for that. No, I lucked out 100%. Yes.
Good for you. Sarah, last question from me, and then we'll really let you go. Do you want to see a picture of Pete Davidson, what he looked like in high school?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. For a second, I thought you were going to say, like, do you want to see Pete Wentz's?
No, absolutely not.
Pete Davidson's wang. I was like, wait, is this going to be full circle? Like a wang for a wang, and I'm going to see Pete Davidson's wang?
I'm sure that is out there. I'm working the phones as the podcast is going on. Let's see if it shows.
Let's see.
Yeah, there you go. There's Pete.
Oh my God.
How amazing is that?
Was he super funny in high school? Like, was he Was he popular?
No, he was a nerd. He was not a nerd. He was just kind of
I thought he got picked on. That's what I heard.
He was like, he used to do like videos of like the football team. So
okay.
They liked the football team, liked him, but then something happened where I don't know, he cheated on a test, he got kicked out of school, and that was kind of the end of him there. So
he smoked a lot too.
What a come up though. He looks way
hot in high school. Yeah, I remember playing basketball with him and stuffing his shots. So I could always say that. That's about it.
Great story.
Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing?
This was fun. Yeah, you have a really great podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sarah, we thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Go take care of your family. This was a lot of fun. Where can we find you? And if there's anything else you'd personally like to share, promote for yourself, by all means, go ahead. But once again, we thank you for your time and appreciate it. And good luck moving forward. This is great.
Thank you guys. It's the Sarah Fraser Show, and I drop podcasts every single day. So you can find everything there. I'm crazy on TikTok. I love doing social media too, and following all these crazy people. I just tried to bail Amy Slayton out of jail. Apparently she has a lot of money. She was able to bail herself out within minutes, so that didn't happen. But there's always antics and shenanigans going on.
Sarah, this has been great. We appreciate your time. Lots of laughs, lots of fun. And that's going to do it here for this episode of I'm Right. For our very special guest, Sara Fraser, from my co-host, Joe Calabrese. I'm Nick Durst, and this has been I'm Right.